Yeah, but live.
Now we are, and let's give it.
Hey!
We'll give it a few seconds, and a bunch of eyes will pop up here in a second, and we'll goof off till that happens. But they should be showing up any second. It kind of delays, but well, there we go. At least there's one person watching. Everybody, welcome into the Punk Rock Saves Lives PMA session for, oh my gosh, April 21st of 21. There you go. Yesterday, living here in Denver, yesterday was 420, so obviously everybody celebrated yesterday. Not me, I was working. But man, we've got an amazing show for you tonight. We've got a ton of announcements and a ton of stuff, but I'm going to start off by doing our introductions as usual. Obviously, as usual, I have my co-host, Mr. Dan, on this side of me. How are you today, and how's it in Chicago, buddy? How's everything going?
Doing great today. I think the best day I've had in weeks. Man, it's been like a solid 40 degrees today, and we actually had 10 seconds of snow, which made no sense. And I'm glad it didn't stay, but that just kind of was one of those. We got like attacked with like the news the other day, like, oh, you're gonna get frost on your cars, you're gonna this and that, and it can snow till May out here. But it was one of those. Well, that was weak. I would have expected more, but overall, a lot happening behind the scenes with the mental health initiative, and getting ready for May, which is Mental Health Awareness Month. So, doing well.
Everybody's popping in. Your band mom, Cynthia. There, look at there.
Hi, Cynthia.
Hi.
And
We got one.
April's over. April's on too. Our drummer and the drummer of every band in the world, and she's in 800 bands, and now she's singing in one. And I don't know if this is I'm breaking somebody's news again, but she and Jay Navarro are doing a thing together, and April's singing, and they're writing songs together, and I can't wait.
It's gonna be so rad.
So rad.
I think I saw you break some news there. I jumped in the other time, and it was kind of like this weird, like, how do we dance around this one?
I think it had something to do with Authority Zero, but you know.
Right, that's what it was.
Yeah.
And I didn't. It was weird. I wasn't trying to break it. I was asking if they 1,000 Island guys sell or distribute the Authority Zero stuff in Canada, and that's what I was talking about. And they kind of let it slip, and then I was like, "Oh, did we just screw up?" But
this is the show you come on if you want to blow a secret.
Yeah,
all about punk.
We do blow.
Thanks for the advance warning.
Yeah,
we do kind of run some bad secrets every so often. Hello, Jason. How are you, buddy? And Cynthia's back, and then she's laughing about it. Yes. No.
Yeah, and here we are talking about it again.
And Bruno's here too, and he's telling me to stop spilling the beans. So I love it. And then obviously over here is Mackenzie's with us from Albuquerque. How's everything down there?
Things are pretty good. My allergies are killing me, so if I look like I've been crying or I'm super puffy or whatever, that's what's going on, because I feel like I'm gonna die. But things are good otherwise. Obviously good week with the verdict coming out yesterday and all of that. It's great, awesome progress. Guilty on all three. So the day seems a little bit brighter today, Oh, thanks. A lot of dry shampoo is the secret on that. Tresemme, hooking it up. Of course.
Tresemme, that's good.
And there's the pup.
Not sponsored. We got the baby.
How's Luna healing? Is she good now?
Good. She is good. Her scar is healing up nicely. She is back to being, she never stopped, but she's just being a little demon again. So we love her.
That dog can eat anything, guys. She
can and does eat everything.
She's the destruction queen. I love it.
I've got her new thing right now is zip ties. She's found some zip ties. I have my gate in the yard has slits about this big so she can squeeze through. So we put up like a small chicken wire on it, and I just zip tied it to the gate. Those are gone. So
hey, probably nice and chewy.
Can't find the pieces either, so we'll find those.
I sympathize on the zip ties. We just got a cat, and I've never had a cat before, and so he loves zip ties. Well, he likes anything that moves, to be honest
Oh,
with you. So
nice.
you have to really watch when you're walking by him the wrong way. He'll take a swipe at you, and
Mm.
so I have a big golden retriever that does none of this stuff. He just lays there. So this is all new. So lots of
Yeah.
excitement around the house.
I think she's a part cat, part crocodile.
Yeah.
You know.
Has Luna figured out the door jams yet? Has she freaked out on them?
I don't have any of those. So,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm sure.
Sometimes corgi puppies think they're the devil. I don't know why, but it's kind of funny. Look online. There's videos of all these corgi
I've
puppies
seen
trying to
Dachshunds
attack
too.
the door stoppers. You know.
Yeah, there's videos of dachshunds doing it too, but I don't have any of those in this house. So maybe if I find a place to move, then maybe we'll have some and see what she does. But no, for now she's just herself.
Well, and here's the really rad part, guys. We have Steve and Casey, both from Belvedere, one of the best punk bands in the history of punk, guys. They're no doubt one of the most technically awesome rocking bands ever. And they're back. They're back big with a new album coming out very soon. If I'm not mistaken, a new single tomorrow or
Yesterday.
I'm off a day. I'm going the wrong way.
120, Rob.
Fucking slaps.
How are you guys doing? Where I know Casey said he's in Calgary. Steve, are you there too?
Yeah, we are. Yep. Things are good here. Nice weather. Having a nice time.
Any movement on the COVID front with you guys? We've been hearing Canada's going a little slow with the rolling out of the vaccines, but
yeah, it's been slow. Things have really picked up lately. They just opened up another AstraZeneca to 40 plus, so that's kind of opened the floodgates. So that's good.
That's real good.
Yeah, Steve and I both had our first pokes.
Nice.
So it's moving along pretty good.
Cynthia, I'm going to ask her a question and maybe she'll answer in the thing. Cynthia, any luck on your side? And she'll answer. They were having a few weeks ago when they were on. They were having a lot of trouble getting lined up themselves. So that's
they're younger than Casey and I. So
yeah,
y'all are both kids.
This is the one time I can feel good about being in my 40s. So yeah, I'll have to wait.
That's awesome. So tell us about the new album. It's going to be on Thousand Islands, and what was the inspiration? What got y'all to just go hardcore and come back with a vengeance? What?
Well, when all of our shows last year were canceled, because we had like about 100 dates that Steve had meticulously curated and lined up. We had festivals, and there was a very complicated routing, and everything was logistically perfect. And he'd worked really, really hard on it. So when all of those dates were canceled, when everything fell through, I felt like I had to kind of cheerlead a bit, because I felt really bad for him, because he put in so much work. I was like, you know what? Here's some songs that I have. Let's put out a record. And it took a little bit of convincing, but once we started to get the songs and Steve started to hear the potential in the songs, it was a snowball. It was really just a way to keep us moving forward so that we could keep our own spirits high. We could keep our own optimism in its correct place.
So my corgi is going crazy. I think we might have just gotten mail. But
I think I've seen that. That's good.
Check it out. We have a viewer from Brazil. Check that out. That's cool.
Hey, Afonso, what's up, buddy?
I love seeing it. Next week's going to be a real challenging one. I kind of dropped the beans early. Scott, the bass player from The Living End, is going to join us all the way from Australia. So it'll be the next morning when he's talking to us. So that'll be pretty cool. And luckily, I got to tour with Scott with the previous charity and with The Living End, one of my very favorite bands, and getting to tour with them and do some good and enjoy them every night. And Counterpunch opened a lot of that tour too. So we've
sweet.
Yeah, we were
Full
talking.
circle.
Yeah, Counterpunch before we came on. You know, all the Thousand Island bands are they're giving so many of the bands that we truly enjoy an opportunity. It's pretty rad. So
Thousand Islands was kind of an easy one. Like Casey was saying, we kind of got going there in the spring and summer last year, and once we got to the fall and knew we were going to have close to a full length, or maybe the end of the summer, we talked to Thousand Islands, and I know them quite well because we've already do records together. Like I manage and book a bunch of other bands, and so Wolfric and Drones and Chaser and so we were already talking daily or every couple of days. So as well with Lockjaw Records in the in the EU and UK, it was just kind of like that's who's putting out the record. So
congratulations on the Chaser. It's phenomenal. It's it's a great album. So
I've been booking Chaser for a couple of years, and they're super fun. I actually met them at Punk Rock Holiday, or maybe it was Brack Rock a couple of years ago. And then within 6 months, I started booking them, and so I book them pretty much outside of the U.S., Canada, overseas, Europe, UK, all that stuff. And they're great guys.
Yeah, they played our virtual Punk Rock Hoedown that we do every year. We do a Punk Rock Hoedown during Punk Rock Bowling every year. The Stern brothers allow us to have a fundraising show. I've done it for 5 years live and 1 year virtual now. The Stern brothers let us exist and raise money because they believe in what we're doing, and it's pretty rad. And Chaser not only played the virtual, they were supposed to be my headliner, for one of the headliners for the night that got canceled, but we're working on this year's right now, and I'm hoping that we can get them lined up if they're not in the middle of something else. So it's great stuff. And Mike came on our PMA session when we had a lot of firefighters all in one night come in and talk about how firefighters on the front lines and they're on the front lines of the pandemic and a lot of other stuff right now, and how they're keeping their positive mental attitude up. And it was a great night. He had a little phone trouble. It kept clipping on him, but that's the way it goes sometimes with the internet. So, but
yeah, they're a super positive band. What in a lot of cases, because I manage or because I book a lot of bands, I usually just have one point of contact, but I'm on this open thread with all these guys, and they're all just like, when I have ideas coming up, or they're all just like, yeah, bro, like this is awesome, which is like, considering all the bad stuff that's happened this year, it's like extra motivation to keep rolling and keep pushing for them. So we're actually taking them on a couple of weeks here in August. I'm Joel Otto's mailman. That's awesome. I'll explain that later.
Okay.
But yeah, so we were supposed to bring him on 2 weeks with us in Europe with Belvedere, and we pushed it to this summer, and it looks like it's probably going to be next summer as well. So and we've got some stuff down the pipe in Canada as well. So I'm excited to spend some time with them. So
yeah, they're just super guys. So I'm stoked, and I'm glad that they're getting lots of accolades on the album. So I'm hoping that people actually give Chaser what they're due. So check it out.
I'd heard it quite a long time ago, and they sat on it actually for a little while, just because things were pretty unknown, and I knew then, like, it was just it was such a good step forward from their last record that I just think I'm excited that people are into it.
That's rad. We'll probably maybe get the whole band on in the near future, but we're just trying. The visitors this year on this have been insane. We've had just, and having you guys add to that is just unbelievable. So
thank you.
Yeah, it's so I was doing some fun research, which I knew already, but Mr. Belvedere, huh? That's where the name came from.
Yeah,
I remember that show well when I was young. So
I did too. And we kind of came up with it in '95 and didn't realize that it was going to be such a generic name as you roll down. Now there's other bands that think it's okay to call themselves Belvedere too. They put accents on their E's, and it really throws things for a loop. And then there's the vodka and the cigarettes, and like every nice vista in France and Italy is called a Belvedere. And so
jeez,
I didn't think I was going to leave the basement with this band. So you have to remember, like, almost 2,000 shows later, I thought we were just going to jam in the basement and maybe play like a show at the Multicultural Center here in Calgary or something. That was it, right? So little did I know that I'd still be talking about it here in my 40s.
Yeah, your Wikipedia says that it was never meant to be a live project, is what it says.
That's true. It's true. I had a label at the time, and I thought I was going to be the guy behind these bands and just push local bands. we were putting out CDs from local bands and some foreign bands is what, I ended up putting out 13 releases over the time, the 7 or 8 years that it was going. So I thought I was always just going to do label stuff. But then, boy, I played my first show and
The addiction.
Yeah.
It is.
Well, we're glad you made it.
Thank you.
We're happy
I'm
to have
glad
you.
to be here.
Definitely happy to have you as a band. Happy to have those records.
Thank you.
Well, I can yield to Mackenzie. She usually has a list of questions, so I'm gonna see what she's got this week.
Honestly, I'm so hopped up on allergy medication. I'm a little out of it, but I was gonna ask, like, you kind of covered it a little bit earlier, how it was sort of pandemic inspired to write some new songs. It's been a few years since you guys have had a release. So yesterday when I saw that pop up, I was super, super excited about it. Do you have kind of a plan for when you're dropping a whole record, or what that's like?
The record is going to be coming out May 14th. We're going to have one more quick thing here, another single just to sort of tease things about a week before that. But yeah, May 14th it'll be out. And yeah, the pre-sale for the album's been going on for almost a couple of months now. So yeah, from May 14th it'll come out, and then we'll see what happens next year.
Awesome. Absolutely can't wait. Definitely hope finally gives me a reason to actually catch Belvedere live, because that's something I've wanted to do for a while now.
I feel bad because it's been a good 15 years since we've toured the States, but we used to tour the States a lot in the 90s and the early 2000s. So we're about due to actually come back down in 2022. And now that we're a little more full time, I think, we'll try to add as much as we can once we make up some of this overseas stuff.
You should bring it all the way down to Albuquerque.
Yeah.
Do it. I'll set it up. We got it. It'll be fine.
Perfect. Yeah.
I promise I won't let your van get stolen.
Okay.
Awesome. And we actually also, I'm sure people watching saw this today, the Punk Rock Saves Lives album is coming out on the 15th, 14th as well. So that'll be, you guys have a twofer. Everybody needs to put May 14th in your calendars as a major record day. I
think I just saw Cigar shared that. They're on.
Yeah, Cigar is on it. I'm holding the test pressing right here.
Cool.
I don't think he's put it down since he received it.
Oh no, I've been rubbing.
Grippy, sweaty hands just all over it.
But it was really funny today because I wasn't really expecting it, and I texted Adam with the IM Records, and he's the one doing it all for us. And I was like, so when are we going to do the pre-sale to the regular public? And he goes, how about today at noon? I was like, no. And I said, look, let's wait. Let's do it for tomorrow at noon, and I can at least say it on the PMA session tonight.
Yeah.
And by the time I hung up the phone, it appeared all over the internet. Like every possible place he could have posted it, it posted. So it became.
I made you guys promise me to give me a heads up, and then nope. I saw it this morning. I was like,
I didn't get.
Cool.
I got like a 2-minute heads up.
Yeah.
So I even had to call Leland and say, Leland,
Leland,
be ready. It's going. But
that sounds like a Belvedere marketing plan before this record. So when are we going to do it? How about now? What do you mean? Now.
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 And it's DIY as it gets.
That is DIY. It's either
Yeah.
drag your feet for 6 months or do it instantly,
Right.
So
Yeah. And the pandemic has given us all a little bit of both. So,
Yeah.
Kind of nice.
All right. Dan, any specific questions you had written down? Because you are good at that every so often.
Ever so often.
I'm kidding.
Right. No, actually, I'm loving all 3 singles. Elephant March, Camera Obscura, Good Grief, Retreat. Loving Elephant March because honestly, it sounds exactly as the title. Just that feeling, circus feeling given, and all around just kick ass. Was wondering what is the meaning behind the title? Hindsight is the sixth sense for it.
So hindsight of the sixth sense, I wish I could take credit for it, but once again, after thinking about titles, we always do these 5-word, 6-syllable titles. It's just something we ripped off from SNFU back in the day. But so you have this sort of like idea, you got to fit something profound in that small space. And I'm shooting around ideas for a week, blah blah blah, and we sit down in the studio, and Casey's like, "Well, how about hindsight is the sixth sense?" And we're like,
"Boom."
That's it. So that's where that came from. There's nothing really behind that other than the fact that he's really good at on the spot album titles.
That's all right.
Yeah. How long had that been floating around in your brain, Casey?
I literally said it when I thought of it.
Oh, that's even better.
Yeah. No, he delivered it as it hit the brain.
Hi, Rich. Everybody,
Rich.
our buddy Rich is
Yeah.
online. So he's one of our bouncers every year at our hoedown. So he's and this year will be special because unfortunately, right, if we get to have it, right at the beginning of the pandemic, Rich was riding his motorcycle and got hit by a car and lost his leg.
Oh.
And yet he's used this whole year not only to get stronger physically and coming back, and he's learned so much and done so much PMA stuff that it's unreal. I can't wait to see the guy again and watch him stand there and not let anybody bounce the stage. It'll be awesome.
He's
Well,
gonna be a more
congrats.
effective bouncer, and I'm kind of afraid of it actually.
And we actually
Congrats on your recovery, Rich. Good to see you still.
think I can't wait to see him maybe do a stage dive with his leg. That'll be a sight. No, not to mention
Are you doing
he's
the
a
butterfly?
very big man. So if he stage
ever wanna
dives, he'll
see
probably
him
take
in
out
stage
half the
dive.
crowd. It'll
I
be
don't want to be within a mile of him stage diving.
it would be rad. I would love it. But it's I was doing so when you went and what y'all went till what 2005 and then
Yeah.
then this is a standoff for how many years and then
I did. Belvedere split up at the end of 05, and then it was next year, maybe the next year I started This Is a Standoff with John and Graham, who was also in Belvedere, and we did that until 2011, the end of 2011, right when like Belvedere was starting to come back for reunion stuff, and then we just kept going after that. That's all. We were supposed to be 12 reunion shows, but then things went really well and we kept going.
that's good. It's good for all of us, obviously,
I've definitely had quite a few. Okay, I'm done. Okay, I'm done. Okay, I'm not done. Okay, I'm done. Okay, I'm not done. I'll do this
that's
till I'm 30. I'll do this till I'm 40. 50 is looking pretty good. 60 is a
Hey.
pretty good chance.
Hey, I'm 51 and my
Yeah.
first digital and vinyl release is coming out and it's out.
Spotify, dude.
Yeah.
Plus,
So
it's literally Iggy Pop's birthday today, and he's
Oh, yeah,
what,
that's-
like 72.
yep. And
So,
he
yeah,
looks
you can keep going.
Yeah.
every minute of it. No, I'm just kidding.
And
74, he's 74.
And if you see bands, that are still out there in their 50s and 60s, even like, I mean, No Means No was like a really big motivation for us earlier on because, that was a band that was even older than like some of the older sort of Fat and Epitaph bands that were, a good decade older than us. No Means No was out there still touring in vans, killing it every night. Like, so, there's no reason why we can't keep doing this if we love playing it, and we do.
That's what I love to hear. That's kind of the PMA thing that we talk about is if it's keeping you young, we say that now after a tour, you go home and you feel probably, but
Yeah.
a week later,
been
you're
a
ready to
while.
go. A week later.
And it's been a while since I've done those long haul ones. There was a time when we used to do 90, 100 shows. I would say that, the 30 to 40 has been sort of the long haul the last 10, 15 years. So it's been a while since I've done that. So I'll let you know when I come back from a 40-day or how I'm feeling.
You can let me know somewhere in the middle. That'll be where.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's what I keep telling.
Rob, I want to come home.
That's what I keep telling bands and like music festival goers because everyone's talking about how laid out they are by especially their second doses of their vaccines. It's like, hey, like I'm pretty sure we all know that this is nothing in comparison to a 40-day tour or just even attending a music festival for 3 days. Like we've all done worse to our bodies. We
Absolutely.
need to be laid out for a couple of days.
I don't know if I could still do Warped Tour. Like I remember how we used to do that in the early
Warped Tour is a
2000s.
special kind of evil.
Those 12-hour days and then driving overnight. Like if you were a small band that was in a van,
it was brutal as just one of the charities. I mean, I was lucky enough to be on one of the buses for the years we did it, and it was brutal there, and I can't imagine the driving ourselves. I did the last, not the very last Warped Tour, because that was really only 2 dates. It was, but the last Warped Tour, we did a partial part with the charity, and I drove an RV, and so it was tough, but we didn't do every date, so I can't
Yeah.
quantify it.
I think the most dates we did was 8. And I was like, I could tell, I knew afterwards why Kevin didn't put like, bands on the whole thing. It was usually like you had the headliners on the buses, and then like you'd kind of swap out regional bands. Because after a week of it, you do your 12-hour days and then 8 hours routing between some of the shows. And so it was exhausting.
Yep. It was, but also worth every minute. I can't express my
exposure it gives.
Yeah. Well, no, but just the camaraderie and the fanship and everything. And I mean, it's really hard to explain how much Warped Tour did for our scene. It did a lot of good. It did a lot of bad. It did a lot of, it taught bands how to tour. It taught some bands what not to do backstage. It had its like tons of ups and tons of downs, but mostly ups. And I think the world of Kevin. And we've had Sierra as a guest on here, and his daughter was always in charge of the nonprofits and did an amazing thing with us, and just a good all around organization. And
that was a huge thing for us when we got on those dates. I remember we did 4 or 5 years in a row, different parts of it. And, we were already touring California, and we had done a bunch of stuff on the East Coast too. And, we were like one of those young hungry bands that would anybody would buy a CD, please, like $5, $3, we don't care. And it did so much for us in those areas that we played. And we still have fans from those areas 20 years later. So it was huge for a band like us.
Yeah. I once again, I just can't say enough about what it did. I mean, it really brought punk rock out of the shadows, kind of in a way, and into so many, and it really showed the differences of punk, and it gave people, you could go to your goth punk on this stage at 4:00 in the afternoon watching the goths melt, and then you could run over and catch Adolescents somewhere, or catch and it brought us the Blink 182s of the world. Would they have been Blink 182 without Warped Tour? It's kind of hard to think, and
we definitely made some good friendships and solidified some good friendships on the time, because other than your 30-minute set, you got all day to sit and kick
hang out.
We spent most of our time with Bigwig, and we became really good friends, and ultimately toured a lot afterwards in Canada together. And there's lots of bands that I could go on and on about because of the friendships that we developed there.
Yeah, Bigwig, awesome. I love the names coming out, and you brought up SNFU earlier, and I just want to go. That was a sad one. I hate to bring it down just a hair, but I do want to quick point out that Denver lost one of our dear scene today. We lost Joe Pro, passed away, the drummer of Frontside 5 and the Trade-Ins. Don't know exactly what. I've been told it might have been a heart issue. I'm not sure, but everybody raise wherever you are, raise your iced tea or water or whatever this is for Joe Pro. Awesome drummer, awesome person. Here's to the Denver music scene. I hope everybody, it's been too much loss. That's all I got to say. And
that's tough, man. I'm sorry.
Every scene has their loss and their everything, but it's just been kind of heavy, So, but think about him, think about things like that, and raise up everybody you can through this. Everybody needs follow up, and when y'all did the reunions, and what in the reunion made you go? What made you go, okay, let's do something new. Let's do another album. Do you remember? Was there a specific spark?
I think more so, like, in case you can probably back this up a little bit, but I think, coming back was kind of a big thing, and it extended from the reunion shows into actually playing somewhat consistently. And I think it just got to the point where it was like, we got to come up with something new. We can't keep playing fast 40 to the tape. Like, we have to show that we can still put out new music.
Steve, Casey, anything to add to that, or?
Well, I mean, I can't speak to the reunion stuff or the vibe after the reunion because I wasn't there for that. I joined the band in 2014 after a couple of fill-in shows in Japan, and I mean, I've known Steve since 1993 or 94, so a long time. So it was kind of and I'd also recorded the first two standoff records, so and his solo acoustic record as well. So it was kind of a no-brainer for me to step in and play those shows. And then afterwards, we played a couple of big festival dates and did a couple of really cool things. And it was just like, well, maybe we should actually write some new songs. And I mean, I knew with these guys, it wasn't going to be there wasn't going to be a difficulty finding, good riffs and finding good melodies. Like it was more about just sort of like making sure everybody was on the same page, and I think everybody was. And so that's when we did Revenge of the Fifth. And you were asking earlier about Hindsight is the Sixth Sense, the title, Hindsight is the Sixth Sense. Something else that happened with the title Revenge of the Fifth, I was like, well, this is Belvedere's fifth full-length record. And everybody was like, whoa. And I was like, so that's cool. And then I was like, and their previous record, Fast Forward Eats the Tape, technically doesn't have 4 in it, but kind of has 4 in it. So I was like, okay, so now we have to incorporate a number in it somewhere.
Nice.
I was
plans
gonna
for 7?
not yet, but I'll start.
7, son.
Yep.
No one's done that.
No one's done that.
I was thinking like 7 and the Ragged Tiger, like Duran Duran style, way back.
Yeah, no one's done that either. That I actually owned that on vinyl back in the day, and I kind of wish I still did.
I think I still have it on cassette, actually.
That album was actually pretty cool. If you go back, I might be losing some punk cred there, but Duran Duran actually had a
great.
Well, yes, and they had a
band.
They were punk influenced when they came out. They'll admit that they were really in. Listen to some of the early first album stuff, and you can hear it.
Well, they're a new wave band, right?
Good is punk influenced.
They might be the real definition of new wave, But, so
they were sort of a savvier new wave. I mean, you had the Gary Newman style, like front guard of new wave playing that kind of stuff, And then you had the American new wave stuff like Talking Heads, and then like Flight of Seagulls and stuff, or Flock of Seagulls and all that sort of stuff. But like Duran Duran was like savvier. They were like, we're gonna take new wave and we're gonna dress it up in these really cool suits. We're gonna reimagine Motown songs, because if you listen to Duran Duran songs and the structure of their songs and their melodies, it's all soul. It's all soul and R&B. And maybe that's because they got Nile Rodgers to produce their records. I don't know.
That's where the funk part comes in.
Absolutely. But like killer grooves, killer melodies. They're just good songs. Like, and if you're gonna front and say that they're not good songs, then that's fine. You do your thing. But like, I don't care how punk you are. Play the bass line to Rio. That's
but listen to John Taylor. It's probably the most underrated bass player alive. So
he's so good.
And during the pandemic, I think I said this once before on this. John's been doing bass tutorials on Instagram or something. So go back and look that up. He's teaching you to play certain Duran Duran bass lines, and that's
cool. You can mix that, because I think Dose was doing tutorials for a second too. So
mix
Duran Duran.
Dose was yes. Yeah, Chris was
and learn how to play bass from those two, and you'll probably end up writing some pretty sick bass lines yourself.
And I mean, if you listen to it in terms of tone and structure, it's like, I would be surprised if Carl Alvarez didn't listen to Duran Duran at some point, even if he didn't tell anybody. It's that kind of like he's got that kind of precision in his tone and that sort of perfect groove, like for the material. Like it's so good. It's so good.
Bass master general. So Carl's the man, and he's just as nice as can be too, and that's what I love about it. So. Just up the road in Fort Collins. So we've seen him at a few shows. So it's pretty rad. They're on just to go back to our album that's going out on pre-sale tomorrow. They're the first Descendants are the first track on there with a unreleased song called Cortez. So I absolutely love the chorus in it. I'm so stoked on the album because, like you said, Cigar's track is unbelievable. It's I think is it In Your Honor, I think, or in on it's something honor.
You're the only one here who would know the answer to that, Rob.
No, we put it out. You can see the whole listing online.
The track list, really?
Yeah, it's on
the artist list.
No, the back of the album has the whole thing on the picture of the back of the album.
Oh, well.
Yeah, it's out there.
Like,
But
I'm the only person who has heard any of it, so
I would say the drum track there. Wait till you hear the Cigar drums on that. Oh my god!
Yeah, the band's are ripping. They're ripping, and John's a great drummer for sure.
And then I can't. This sounds crazy, but in a list of that band like that, I can't wait for you all to hear the Mercy Music song and the Barstool Preachers song that are on there. So it's really cool that the upper bands, obviously you're going to get obviously awesomeness because it's bands love and are getting something, but there's some gems on there of some bands in the middle to upcoming that I want y'all to hear. And I told Casey something about it earlier, Steve, but we're working on volumes 2 and 3, so we might be hitting you for like a secret Belvedere track or something maybe for a future.
What? Sure. Sounds great.
Yeah. And, obviously Cynthia and Bruno and everybody were like, what can we do? So there she is. Cynthia just said, can't wait to get one tomorrow. So it's going to be rad. And let's see. So when we do get back to touring, we should expect some Belvedere in America.
Yeah, like I said, we've got 3 Europe tours and some Canada stuff to make up. A Mexico trip, our first time there, and then after that, I think we'll do some state stuff. So we just gotta, as you probably know, Canadian bands need a work permit, so we'll have to get going on that. But yeah, once we find something that we can make it all work, we'll be back down. And I'd like to hit a good chunk of the States in 2022 if we can.
Well, I know some people in Albuquerque and Denver and Chicago that might try to help you out. So
right on.
That you're really hurting to go on.
You got to put that Albuquerque. Awesome. You got to be in Albuquerque. It's. Well, we're working.
I can travel, but people should come to Albuquerque
for sure.
I've been to Albuquerque,
and I think it might be because
I played in Santa Fe too.
Why would you? I mean, that's a city. That's a place to play for sure.
We actually couldn't get it. We couldn't get a show in Albuquerque. We just ate Indian food there.
Oh, okay. Which band was this?
I was in a band called the Martyr Index that was doing that tour.
It's funny though, like when you say like, "Oh, why would you play in this town?" That's all the towns we played. Yeah. is the why did you play this town? It was.
Oh
no.
Uh-oh. Dial back in, Steve. It happens.
I can speak to that point until he returns. That's why Belvedere has so many people who remember us after 20 years. I say them because I wasn't there then, but after 20 years, those memories stick with people. Like, you came to the town that I was living in, and Steve can pick it right back up. Hello, Steve.
Yes, we played a lot of small towns. That's all I had to say.
I just like that you two finish each other's sentences. I really appreciate knowing that about Belvedere.
We do that a lot in the studio, so we sort of do that in interviews too.
Oh, perfect.
Best comment yet. There it is.
Belvedere rules, COVID drills. Thanks, Luca.
Whatever, Luca. Well, Luca plays in a band called Wolfric. It was they were the first band I started managing, and that's what started my booking agency. So thanks, Luca.
And they shred like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
And it's RWOLF Rick.
Yeah, Wolfric.
Nice.
With a K or
yeah, K. R-I-K.
All right.
Sorry, Mackenzie, what were you saying?
Oh, I was just saying Canadian bands just have a tendency to absolutely shred.
It's
like
cold
with
up
you
here.
guys, I even get like Protest the Hero vibes, which is also Canadian. It's like I would love to see that tour, which would be super strange and weird.
With who?
Protest
the Hero.
Oh yeah.
Especially your new singles. I'm like, oh wow, like you're really bringing the.
We'd like to see that too.
That'd be fun. That'd be really fun, actually.
Yeah, they're dynamite guys.
They're great. Actually, I have some old tour posters of them when we played together in the early 2000s, and Rhodey and Mike, who's also in Protest, the drummer, they are in a band called Mystery Weekend, and so Mystery Weekend came out, and we did some Alberta dates, and then got to really connect. And actually, the drummer from Protest, Mike, he filled in for This Is a Standoff for a couple of Europe and Canadian tours. So yeah, we all kind of go back quite a bit, and they're I mean,
Nice.
they were good when they were kids. What they turned into is unbelievable.
Yeah, every time this blows my mind. But that'd be super fun to see all of you play
That's
together.
great.
See you and Rhodey swap out a couple of times.
And fun fact, Rhodey sings on our new record.
What?
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna say it. I was waiting for
I
Steve
knew
to
I
blow.
had the vibes. I knew I was getting a vibe.
Yeah.
From
Rhodey sings on one of the tracks. Roger from Less Than Jake and Dylan from Wolfric. So it's gonna be fun. We had 13 songs, so I'm like, it can't just all be me. So you have to like spread it out a little bit, right? So it was. We're stoked that everybody was into it.
We got
and me a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm so
Casey sings too, but thanks.
We got inundated today with people showing us Roger. Roger was online today playing bass, and he was wearing one of our shirts.
Awesome.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, it was really cool. So I got like a million messages. Rob, look, and I'm like,
yeah.
I think I gave him that shirt.
Less Than Jake, they're such good guys. Like that whole band is just a bunch of awesome people.
I love them to death.
Like even with this record, like Roger, I was like, can you sing this? Can you sing one more line? Can you just do a little bit more? And he's like, yeah, sure, why not? And we did some Brazil stuff with them a bunch of years ago, and that was a lot of fun. And I was a fan before, but I was a huge fan after those tours.
Casey, Cynthia says y'all have matching hair.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, you do. Yeah.
I almost actually brought that up because we had Cynthia on when we did like a badass women's panel. There was 6 of us, and my hair used to be that color, but it isn't anymore. But every woman had like that colored hair, green, teal, and I noticed. I'm like, oh, Casey. I was like, I wonder if Cynthia did it.
Yeah,
teal's kind of my favorite color. I got my tumbler here. My drum kit is like kind of a surf green teal color. So, but yeah, I actually cut my my pandemic mop a few weeks ago and decided to actually dye my hair again because everything was getting really faded and washed out. So
I need to quit my job so I can do that again.
Ray is sure hoping y'all come to Winnipeg. So that's
absolutely.
Ray does not have to worry.
I learned Canada when I was young by where the hockey teams were. That was like,
honestly, that's all I know about Canada is where the hockey teams are.
I was not so good with Canadian geography until we toured all of Canada there in '99, and we'd done mostly the West Coast, and we were going right across Canada. And we had some dates with Bad Religion, which at the time, of course, were huge things for us. And I just kind of assumed this is before GPS, and you weren't really planning things out. I certainly was not very good at planning, and so you kind of thought that every city was about 8 hours. So of course, from Winnipeg to Thunder Bay, it must only be like 5 hours, and then another 5 hours to Toronto. So I remember like we finished the Winnipeg show. This is with Bad Religion and Strung Out, big shows, and we putzed along the next day. We like slept in. Got up, we're like, hey, got to Kenora, Ontario, went and saw Star Wars. Was it Phantom Menace, I think? And then we came out, and we're like, I think Toronto's a lot further than we think it is. And we hauled ass for like 23 hours straight and barely made that Toronto show. So then I learned about how big Canada was. And since then, I've brought maps.
It is, I mean, I always get weirded out driving completely across Texas. And Canada's a whole nother bunch more. And
second biggest country on earth.
It's one way. That's the problem. Like, it's not that hard. You get on the one and you go east, right? But the States is big too, right? I've done some nasty drives from Philadelphia to San Diego, and that's not an easy.
It's not a fun drive.
No. So.
We a couple of years back, we finished Bonnaroo, which is outside of Nashville, Tennessee, and had a Warped Tour date in 2 days in Albuquerque. And then we made that drive barely in 2 days, but we did make it. And we were zombies, and
we're very much that city where people stop to sleep. Like, even if they can't get a show, there's a lot of people that will just stop and sleep here. We're always somehow halfway between whatever. people drive all the way through Texas and they're so sick of Texas. They're like, let's just make it to Albuquerque and pass out. Call me up, whatever. But I always have people who are just like, hey, I'm just spending a few hours. Can I park in your driveway? Just crash out. I'm like, yeah, for sure, man.
Your label mate Clinton from United Defiance on with us now.
Oh, what's up?
So
They've got a song on the record too.
Yes, they do. Coming out. Pre-ordering tomorrow. They've got a great song. And I do agree. Tejas, the never-ending state. All right. Well, we close out a couple of different ways each week, and with this amount of people, I'm going to get started here at the 45-minute, 50-minute period. I've got some announcements I'll do after and to close out, but every week I poll the panel to see something you've been listening to, reading, a podcast, or something like that that has kept your spirits up through some of this, that might help people moving forward. They can go check out and keep their spirits up. I usually kind of bombard Dan as first one, but I'm going to throw it at Mackenzie first this week. Mackenzie, what's been blowing your brains up?
Oh man, I mean, I've been spending pretty much all of my time not at work watching the trial and all of that and the verdict yesterday. So that's kind of been taking up my listening space. But I've also rediscovered the Have-Nots. I don't know if anybody here was a fan. Great Boston punk band from back in the day. But all day, because I finally, we were talking about it before we were live, I finally started listening to These Roving Years' new record. Listened to it 4 times all the way through. So shout out to April and Todd and Adam, and of course Rob, who's already right above me. I absolutely adore it. So if you guys haven't checked it out yet, please check it out, because I've been listening to you guys talk about working on this record for the last year and a half. So I'm super, super proud of you, and that's been a fun one to turn on all day.
Yeah, I'm proud of it. So thank you. That's really cool. Dan, what's been blowing your mind up?
Man, I've been in a whole mix of things. I've been on a post-hardcore kick lately. There's a band called Avoid that released a cover of Show Me How to Live. Cornell, rest in peace. And phenomenal just to hear someone not match his vocals, thankfully, just do their own route, because I think Chris is untouchable in that area. But besides that, been kicking back to Royal Blood's new single, waiting for their new album to be released.
Another one of those 2-piece bands we got on a talk a couple of weeks ago about. So
yeah.
Those guys make a lot of noise for 2 guys. Yeah, so.
Phenomenal.
Like our buddies In the Whale. Yeah. So I still have a couple of T-shirts of In the Whale that I got at the show a couple of weeks ago for, I think, Kramer and Clay, but I got to get them out. Steve, what's been, I know you manage a lot of bands, so a lot of music's been, your guys have probably been making a lot of stuff, and what's been blowing you up?
So there's a band from Chicago that's originally from the Dominican Republic called La Armada.
So sick.
And
those guys are awesome. Yes.
So that was the second band I started booking and managing. They have a new record coming out. Well, they have some new music coming out, and I'm not sure how everything's kind of getting laid out, but look for something there. I'm listening to some new stuff from them, and it's awesome. And if you know La Armada, I don't know many live bands that are better. We've been fortunate enough to have them on a couple of our tours, and they're Paul and I go way back, and I think they're wonderful. So that's the music. Always blows me away, and this new stuff is no different.
Yeah, my buddy Adam did a couple music videos for them actually back in the day.
Yeah.
So absolutely,
that's awesome.
Anybody who doesn't listen to La Armada, listen to La Armada and then go find videos of them live, because it is fucking insane.
Yeah, they're off the chain.
And reading wise, I kind of just read some old novels and stuff. I got this book called Atlas Obscura, which is it's got sort of tourist things that are not on the normal beaten track. When you go to the UK, and it's a lot of it's really dark stuff, but it's very cool. And seeing that I'm missing travel as much as I am right now, I just love anything that I can just kind of grab onto from other places around the world.
They've made it into a website and an app, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Atlas Obscura. Yeah.
You know the one. Yeah.
I try to keep that and the roadside attractions apps on my phone, because when I'm out there following these bands around the country, if we have a day off or something, I'm a roadside attraction junkie. So if I
Yeah,
can
that's good.
go see the whale in the middle of I always mess up. It's not in Missouri. It's in Oklahoma or somewhere. There's a little whale on the side of the road, and it's on a lake. And I've stood in his mouth before, and all sorts of stuff like that. It's really just anything cool and off the beaten path.
Well, come down here and I'll take you to the giant pistachio.
I'm down.
Page 87.
I also need to come down for the balloons. I've seen but
yeah. That's a real thing that everybody has to do, is come out here for the International Balloon Fiesta. Hopefully that happens this year. I don't know if it will, but it would be great to see it go off again. But
something about
giant pistachio is way less cool than that, but we can still do it. Or we can even see the UFO McDonald's.
There we go. I love stuff like that.
Yeah, I know. You don't spend enough time down here. You would love it.
I've had fun every time I've been there. My first real experiences with Albuquerque were the Albuquerque Comic-Con.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So we swabbed at that to save lives from cancer, and found lifesavers at Comic-Con, and I was drawn there as a superhero that ended up being my skateboard. So that was cool.
That came from Albuquerque one. That's cool.
Yep. It was a Denver artist in Albuquerque of all things, but
we're connected.
Casey, what's been blowing your mind up? What's been keeping you going? It could be anything.
Fair enough. An unfortunate side effect of my job as a recording engineer and a mixing engineer is that I sometimes get a little burned out, and so I don't listen to as much music as I probably should, because I'm doing it all day long. But I did fall into a bit of a Lunatics hole a couple weeks ago.
Oh, nice.
They're a band that I loved a lot, back in the day, and I didn't listen to for a whole score of years, and then I just sort of recently fell back into them. And they're back together now, so I'm super excited to see what they cook up in the future.
Well, they were supposed to be at Punk Rock Bowling. So.
Exactly.
They're still going to be.
Yep.
At the new one.
Yeah.
And hopefully Canadians can come out to that. Hopefully.
But most of my inspiration lately has actually just been from doing things, and I tend to be this way in general. It's part of my neurodivergency, is that I kind of learn best, or I'm most excited when I'm learning something, when I'm learning how to do something new. So recently I've just sort of started falling into a hole with like film and video and stuff like that, and I've gotten a bunch of gear that I can't afford so that I can start learning how to do. I've been watching hundreds of hours of videos and tutorials and stuff like that. That always makes me feel a little bit better about my place in the world, if I'm actually doing something that requires me to fire all my neurons at once. And so that's been kind of an inspiration for me. And whenever I'm having a tough time, usually every couple of years, I'll read Lord of the Rings all the way through. I've read it probably 20 times in my life, and I just read that again recently. So, yeah.
Here's a perfect description of La Armada.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're
incredible band all around.
So
bombastic and frenetic, and you can't help but be swept up in their wave live.
That's awesome. That's the passion. A couple of things I've been checking out, and I want you to check out. Our friends in Venomous Pinks just announced a new thing coming out, so check that out. Go to their website. Wonderful, awesome band out of Arizona, and let's see. I've also I'm really stoked on that. Our friends in what used to be Mattersville are now Angel Punks, and they are doing all sorts of really cool art and playing on the Bad Brains and everything. So check that out. And he did a shirt where he kind of played our PMA with Metallica. So kindness up your ass. There you go. So
I love that.
And I love it. And I don't know how I got lucky, but I got the little print too that came with it. So I'm stoked on that. Support your local artist and your friends and anybody that's doing art and music. buy stuff, guys. It's great. I'm not making a ton of money doing what I'm doing, but I'm trying to support who I can. It's really cool. Reminders, tomorrow at noon, we talked about it, but tomorrow at noon Pacific time, so 3:00 Eastern time, and you can adjust in all around in there. The Punk Rock Saves Lives compilation, only available on vinyl, and there are only 1,000 copies ever. We made agreements with the bands that we don't own the song. They're donating it for 1,000 vinyl and vinyl only. And it's just a really rad collector's item. Yet, if you do have a vinyl, please, you'll love every second of it. I'm stoked on it, and it's the first time I've ever been on a vinyl album, so it's pretty rad. I'm stoked about that. This weekend, if you're in the Denver area, we'll be at all day Saturday from like 12 to 5. We'll be at Brixton Barbers, which is one of our advisory board members, Nick Zappetto's awesome punk rock barbershop in Centennial, Colorado, just south, little suburb of Denver. We're going to be doing a food drive all day for a community food bank. We're trying to get people to bring good proteins, cans or non-perishable foods, all donate it. I'm supposed to call Sputnik Slovenia, the lead singer of the Nuns of Brixton and Pitch Invasion, will be there. And the Nuns of Brixton play a lot of Clash songs, and the place is, well, they play nothing but Clash songs, actually. And
typically what a cover band does.
Yep. And but they dress as nuns when they do it. But Sputnik is not only an amazing singer-songwriter, but he's the singer of that, and we're playing outside of Brixton Barbers. So I'm hoping we hear a lot of Clash playing out there for you for free. Clinton says, Dan, you're awesome. There you go. I love that.
Thanks, brother.
Good job, Clinton.
We joke that Dan is our silent Bob. He kind of hangs out, and he's doing all the posting on the side there and promoting your albums and everything, and that's what's so rad. And he's out there really behind the scenes, guys. This guy does a lot for our mental health. It's unbelievable the pathways they're finding to help people, and we're finding more and more ways to help people every day. So please keep checking, and Dan's a big push behind that. So I love you, brother.
Good job, Dan.
Hey.
Other little things coming up. So make sure food drive. And if you want to donate, I know we've had people throwing food drives all over the country all month, which has been rad. Got to give a big shout out to Death or Glory Tattoos in Omaha. They've been doing a ton, and they've taken bedding and all sorts of stuff to a underprivileged kids organization. Unbelievable. So, if you're in the Omaha area, please go over, donate some stuff, and they give you a raffle ticket. Someone's going to get a rad tattoo at the end just for donating stuff. That's really cool. And there's all sorts of, I think we had 15 to 16 states, different states having a food drive of some sort during this. So that's pretty rad. I'm adding, we have stuff on the flea market, and I'll throw this to more artists, Steve or Casey. If you've built up a big supply of like T-shirts or merch over the years that just sit in the corner of your thing, you can donate them to us, and we can put them in our flea market online. So if you ever have anything, but Nathan, I'm working on it right now. It's a lot of work to get one piece into our store. Just one piece of everything takes a lot of work, but I am working on it. Nathan Maxwell from Flogging Molly donated a gigantic crate of really cool shirts. So keep looking over the next few weeks. I'm going to be trying to pepper in as many as I can into the flea market. And the cool thing is every dime of that goes right back into our programs to help people in so many different ways. So that's coming up. And if anybody can donate it, let's see. It will probably be May, guys, but I actually am holding our kids' book.
Nice.
Our buddy Kurt, excuse me. We said Carl earlier, and it's Kurt. Kurt does the art. Kurt does the art and the books for the Tony Sly Foundation for Kids, and the books are called Tony Fly Saves the Sky. Well, he did one with us, and I know it plays on my nickname, but we wanted it to stay PRSL, so it's Punk Rover Saves Lives. And imagine that he's a punk rock corgi, and he gets picked on for not looking or doing what everybody else does, but he goes behind and helps people. You're going to love this little book. It's going to be out soon. We're going to do a full blown release, but I just wanted to get you excited about that's what I've been reading. I actually just got it the other day, and I'm absolutely, and every Mackenzie, you'll love it. Every female that's read it so far and myself have cried tears. So
it is really easy to make me cry, so I'm gonna cry about you just telling me that.
It's really cool. You're gonna love it, and it's gonna be out there, and we're gonna do a lot of good with, and it's not gonna be expensive, and we're gonna do some cool events with it.
Are we crying happy tears, or are we crying because there's like a sad part?
No, it's happy, but it's also it's happy tears, but and it makes sense, and it plays. I gave Kurt the idea of a punk rock corgi that did good, and he flew with it, and he worked in our tenets of punk, which is positivity, unity, nurture, and kindness, and he worked that into the story, and each one of it works. And he did something that blew my mind, and he didn't even know he did it. He used the fact that we want unity and no racism, and he befriends and helps a little black dog, and the little black dog is being left behind because it's black. And it's a play on obviously humans interacting and getting along, but Kurt didn't realize there is black dog and black cat syndrome, where they don't get adopted in centers because they're black. It's just superstitions built on black cats, obviously, but black dogs it affects too. So I let him know that he accidentally played on two different things, and it made it even better. So it's pretty rad.
See, I'm already gonna cry.
Yeah. So it's unbelievable. I'm so stoked on it. It's so weird. Everything came out at once. It's like our album finally went, and now our book is ready, and it's going to be, but we're going to do some really cool stuff. So, yeah, Richard says I need to make a costume for Punk Rover. So, yeah, we'll get someone to wear the Punk Rover mask and jump into the pit. That'll be, but,
just get Luna a mohawk.
There you go. Or it kind of looks like Walter. It kind of looks like my corgi.
Like Walter.
So,
we can get both of them a mohawk.
And I mean, it's there's the little black dog, and Kurt is also donating the original drawings, a lot of them, and signing them, and we'll do some auctions and cool stuff so you can get some of the actual original art from the thing. It's going to be really rad. And if people like it, obviously Punk Rover can have more adventures and do some good. I think that's really it. I didn't say any music. Everybody go check out Radkey. Okay, there you go. And United Defiance. How's that? Yeah. But most of all, go look and pre-order the new Belvedere, because everything I've heard so far blows my mind. Coming out in soon, 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's crazy. So please check that out. One thing I didn't do. What's everybody's shirts this week? We usually talk. Anybody wearing any? I see a Dare.
Well, it's not Dare, because the Dare program kind of backfired. But it is an In Decline Dare to Resist Police Violence shirt in honor of all of the happenings right now. Good and bad.
All right.
I did this is a We Are One tour that we did in Brazil with Pennywise and Comeback Kid.
Beautiful.
Nice.
That was a fun one. So
we love those Pennywise guys.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Dan, is you wearing just a blank? Dan's wearing just a blank. He's usually got a great slogan.
I got nothing here too.
I've got on Jason. I always screw his last name up. I do that really good, but it's a guitar shop, and check it out online. But he does all of his art. He has corgis too, and all of his art are corgis played into famous punk albums. So,
What?
and yeah, it's really cool.
Rob, I can't afford things like this.
Well, like I said, support your artist. I think I sent
Yeah.
him $20. He sent me a
Show
shirt.
me that stuff
So-
before I'm a corgi owner, okay? Not now.
There's a Texas Corgi Goods or something that does all sorts of crazy stuff too. Tina and I have a lot of corgi stuff.
I've got all the dachshund stuff, and I can't be a crazy multi-breed dog lady.
All right. Well, my closing thing I do, Steve and Casey, this is open to both of you. Everybody else has answered it over the time. Where would your life be today if you had not found punk rock?
Oh God, I can't even imagine. That's kind of a tough question because I kind of answered it on the podcast the other day, because for me, punk rock is rebel music, and it's like a lot of other rebel musics. And for me, I've always felt a kinship to those things. The first music that I really got into was metal when I was a little kid. And for me, metal and punk were they were the same when I was a kid. I didn't see any difference because they were both aggressive music that was anti-establishment or that was rebellious in some fashion. And that sort of always spoke to something in me that I couldn't get elsewhere. It's not that other music isn't good. It's just that particular fire of individuality, of critical thinking, of analysis of the world around you. All that stuff is stuff that I got from punk rock for sure. And that's it's so ingrained in me that I can't actually envision a me without it, because it's been there since I was 10 years old.
And I think that's the root of the perfect answer of the question. So what about you, Steve? Would you think you'd be an accountant somewhere or something? Or
I don't think I ever would have liked numbers in any scenario. But yeah, much like what Casey said, I don't think I would have had the same view of the world that I think that I did. It led me to really, the bands that I listened to earlier on, like the Bad Religions and stuff like that, they really made me question what was going around me and not just accepting things because that was what was on TV, or this is the political party you voted because your parents voted for them, or it just made me question things. And it gave me music that I could play, because metal was too hard for me back then. I couldn't keep up with that stuff. But punk rock was accessible. And then, once I got past the music and got into the lyrics, it opened my mind to the plight of other people around the world. And it taught me empathy. I give a shit about our scene, and our scene gives a shit about us.
Absolutely.
As you can tell, we based a whole nonprofit about it. So we completely agree. Thank you for that. That's awesome. Guys, it's been a gigantic honor to have you guys on board.
Thank you for having us.
We absolutely love Belvedere, and we are so excited for this new album. And I want you here in the States as soon as you can, and we are gonna work on a Punk Rock Saves Lives festival of, not big at first, but we're gonna do some cool stuff, and awesome. We will definitely hit you up and see if we can get you into America affordably.
I'd love to.
The hard part is getting you into America.
We're good.
I did try to bring a Canadian band to the Hoedown a few years ago, and it would have. I gave them the max money that I had to give, and it wouldn't have even paid for their visas to get in.
Yeah,
basically. So I know it's tough, but we will work around that some ways. And
figure it out.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you,
Mackenzie, Rob, Dan. Really appreciate it.
And as I say every week, guys, one love, up the punks. I hope you have a great night.
Up the punks.
Cheers, everybody.
Take care.
Thank you.
Take care. Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.